this is question 11. In question 11, we have this figure. It's made up of a hemisphere and a cone, and we were told that the diameter of the base of the hemisphere is 6 centimeters and the height is 9 centimeters, and we are asked to find the total volume. Now, make sure, take something very important to note. The formulas for anything you want to use, for any question you have to solve on the SAT, is included in the questions. So you don't have to memorize any formula. The formulas are right there in the SAT booklet, all right? So now, what's the formula for the volume of a cone? The volume of a cone is given as 1/3 pi r squared h. Like I said, you don't have to memorize this. This is already in the SAT question booklet. All right. Now, remember, we're calculating two volumes: the volume of the cone, and the volume of the sphere. All right. So, what is the volume of the sphere? Now, in this case, it's a hemisphere rather, not a sphere. A hemisphere is half of a sphere. Now, that is given as 2/3 pi r cubed, because the volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. Now, hemisphere is half of a sphere, so you just divide it by 2. Dividing that by 2 gives me this one. Okay? Now, let's solve for the cone. 1/3 pi. What is the radius of the cone? We were given that the radius of the cone is 3, because the diameter is what? 6. All right, so 3 squared. Now, what is the height of the cone? Now remember, this is 6, so this is 3 here. Okay, now what is the height of the cone? 9 minus 3, which is what? 6. So times 6, then plus 2/3 pi 3 cubed, which is equal to 1/3 pi 9 times 6 plus 2/3 pi 27. So this is 9 times 6 is 54 divided by 3, which is 18 pi plus 18 pi, which is equal to 36 pi. And that's the volume of this question. Remember, the formulas you need is given in the SAT booklet, so you don't need to memorize it. Now, what we just needed to do was divide the volume of a sphere by 2 to get the volume of a hemisphere. Okay. This is question 12, and in question 12 we're asked to simplify this expression: a/4 plus b/3 squared. All right, so what we do is we expand. All right, so we go ahead and do that. This means a/4 plus b/3 times a/4 plus b/3. Now take note that this dot means multiplication. All right, so maybe I should just do multiplication like this. All right, so then we have a/4 multiplied by a/4 plus b/3 plus b/3 a/4 plus b/3. Right, now this is a squared divided by 16 plus ab divided by 12. That's a/4 times b/3, plus we have the same thing repeated here again, plus b squared over 9. Okay, now we have a squared over 16 plus 2ab over 12 plus b squared over 9. I could rewrite this as a squared over 16 plus ab over 6 plus b squared over 9. And this is option D, and that's the answer to this question. So for question 13, we are given this equation, and this is one of 2 linear equations in a system that has one solution, and we're asked to find another equation that could be the second equation that forms this system of equations. Now, the quickest and easiest way to do this is this: what is the ratio of y to x here? X to y, or y to x here is -2 divided by 2, which is what? -1. Ratio of y to x, right? is the coefficient of y is -2, the coefficient of x is 2, which is -1. Now, for each option, for example, option A, what is the ratio? What is the ratio of y to x again? 8 over -8, which is -1. B is -3 over 3, which is -1. C is 8 over -10, which is -4 over 5. D is 1 divided by -1, which is -1. If you notice, which one is different from this guy? This is the same, this is the same, this is the same, this is different. So this is the one that could be the second one. All right, this is the easiest and quickest. When you have a system of equations that have exactly one solution, just check the ratio of y to x. The one that is different will be the answer. In this case, is this one. So that is -10x plus 8y, which is 5, and that's option C. In question 14, we are asked to find a graph that could represent this equation. All right, so I have an easy way for you to solve the question. Now, if you look at the options, you see that the graph has values of 10, 20 on 10, 20, -10, 20 on both the x and the y axis. So what you could do is, okay, put 10 and -10 into this equation and see what you get. All right, so let's do that. So if x is -10, what is the value of y? Let's start with that. So x equals -10. What is y? Y equals -4, -10 plus 16 divided by -10 plus 2, which is 40 plus 16, because -4 times -10 is 40. So 40 plus 16 is 56 divided by -8, which is -7. All right. Now, when x is 10, what does it give us? X equals 10. What does this give us? Y equals -4, 10 plus 16 divided by 10 plus 2, which is -24 divided by 12, which is what? -2. So when x is -10, we have a negative value. When x is +10, we have a negative value. If you check through the graph, the only graph that gives that option where putting 10 and -10 will both give us negative values of y, the answer to that is D. All right, so you check and you see that it is D. In question 15, we are given this function and we are asked to find the y-intercept of this function. Now, this is very easy. The y-intercept is at the point where the line intersects the y-axis. Now, at that point, the value of x is 0. So it's 0y here. So what do? Just put x equals 0 into the equation and you get your y-intercept. All right, so f of 0 becomes 5, 0, root to the power of 0, plus 3, which is anything to the power of 0 is what? 1. 1 plus 3, which is what? 4. So at the value of x equals 0, y is 4. So that means the y-intercept is 0 and 4. And that's the answer to this equation. That is option B. In this question, we are going to find the slope of this line. Now, this is a grid question, so it doesn't have an option, so you have to grid in the answer. All right, and the answer is very simple. What is the formula for the equation of a straight line, of any straight line? It is given by y equals mx plus c, where m is the slope. All right, now our equation looks like this. y equals mx equals 30x plus 120. So from here, if you compare this to this, you see that the slope m equals to 30, and that's the answer to the question. So the answer comes from knowing what the equation of a straight line is. Now, if you have questions about the equation of a straight line, I have a full SAT math course. Just click the link in the description and you'll be able to enroll for that course, where I talk about this and many more SAT concept questions that will help you easily save time on the SAT. All right, but this is the answer to this question: m equals 30. In question 17, we are given this function and we are asked to find for what value of this function does fx equal 1. For which value of x, rather, does this function equal 1? All right, so meaning we have, so we just equate these to 1, all right? So, and we find the value of x. So 1 over 5x equals to 1 minus 9 over 10. 1 over 5x equals 1 over 10. So x is 1 over 10 times 5, which is 1 over 2. So the value of this, of x, for which this function would equal 1 is 1 over 2. In question 18, we were given OP, a line on K, then we are asked to find the x value of the x-intercept of line K. All right, so this is the interpretation of the question. You have the y-intercept of line K is P, and at the y-intercept x is 0. So I have it here at 0, P. Then the x-intercept where y is 0 is x, 0. All right, so we're asked to find this x. Now we are given the slope as equal to minus 2p over 5. So let's go ahead and use the formula of a slope to find the value of x. All right, so the formula for slope is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, and that is minus 2p over 5. The slope for line K is minus 2p over 5. So if we take these 2 points, I will call this x1, y1, x2, y2, we can use that, plug this in and find the value of x. Okay, so y2 here is 0 minus y1 is p divided by x2 is x minus x1 is 0 equals to minus 2p over 5. So we're almost there. 0 minus p is negative p divided by x minus 0 is x, which is equal to minus 2p over 5. So we have here minus 2px equals to minus 5p. We can cut out the negative signs. We have x equals 5p over 2p, which is 5 over 2. And that is the value of this x at the x-intercept of this line K, 5 over 2. Always remember the value of the formula for the equation for a slope. You will use that for this question. In this question, we were given this figure. Then we're also given 2 angles x and y. So I've drawn it so that it's easily understandable. So DFG is x and GFE is y. Then we're asked to find the value of cos x minus sine y. Now, the first thing you need to know is that here now, x plus y equals 90 degrees, right? Because this makes up this right angle, which is 90 degrees. Okay, so x plus y is 90 degrees, and therefore it means that these 2 angles are complementary. When they add up to 90 degrees, it means they are complementary. 180 means they are supplementary. Okay, so in this case, they are what? Complementary. And for complementary angles, when you have cos x minus sine y, for example, let's plug in 2 values here. X plus y equals 90. Let's say x is 30, therefore y will be what? 60, right? 30 plus 60 is 90 degrees. Cos 30 minus sine 60 is 0.5. Sine 60 is 0.5, which is what? 0. Try it for any x and y that makes 90. You will always get 0. So the answer to cos x minus sine y is 0. In question 20, we are asked to find the sum of the solutions of this quadratic equation. Now, the sum of the solutions of any quadratic equation is given by negative b over a. All right, so we just have to find what b and what a represents from this equation. Now, for any quadratic equation, the form is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So compare this to this. You have that your a is 3, your b is negative 2, and your c is negative 7. So b and a are coefficients of the quadratic equation. All right, so Now the sum of the solutions, like I said, is negative b over a. So what is negative b here? Negative 2 over a, which is 3. So this is 2 over 3. And that's how you solve this question.